Yes, this is a special edition, 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to everyone. I found some information that I thought was fascinating, and I thought I'd share it with you for this special holiday. Freedom isn't free. When should we celebrate the Declaration of Independence, the 4th of July, our nation's birth? Should it be July the 4th? Should it be July the 19th? Should it be August the 2nd? You say, well, why would you give all of those dates? It's always been July the 4th. Well, Declaration of Independence wasn't really formally signed until August the 2nd. And the Second Continental Congress, 50 delegates, finally winding up being 56 delegates, actually got signatures on an official document. On July the 4th, only John Hancock was the one that had signed the Declaration of Independence. So we see that communications, FaceTime, Zoom, all of those things was not available in the colonies. Were they 12 or were they 13? Well, on July the 4th, it was only 12 because New York abstained. And they didn't agree and sign until the August the 2nd date. So maybe August the 2nd date is a correct date for the Declaration of Independence. But in any case, I said that freedom wasn't free. When the Declaration of Independence was signed, there was a war that went on between ourselves and Britain between 1775 and 1783. 25,000 U.S. citizens died, but only about a third or a quarter of those died from war. The rest died from disease in the midst of fighting. From the British side, 46,600 people died. Again, only a small portion of them died in battle. Most of them died of disease. That's an incredible number when you think about it. Almost 70,000 people died in getting our freedom, and that doesn't include the Germans who pitched in to be warriors on behalf of Britain. Well, how did it all develop? What happened? Well, I thought I'd take the ones that you'd be interested in rather than all 13 colonies. North Carolina became colonized in 1585. But realistically, it wasn't until 1650 that the English came and claimed to have been a colony. And they claimed to have been the first ones to sign the Declaration of Independence. We'll never know because there's no records to clearly show that. They were signed not in the order of agreement to have a Declaration of Independence. North Carolina then, being an English development of 1650, say that they signed the Declaration of Independence on April the 12th, 1776, way ahead of the July or August dates. North Carolina became a state in November the 21st of 1789, being the 12th state to join the United States of America. Interesting, isn't it? South Carolina was colonized in 1663 under King Charles with 8 nobles. The English establishment of a colony is 1670 in Charlestown, named after Charles II. North Carolina and South Carolina was really one colony until 1712, and then they were separated to a North and South Carolina. And South Carolina signed the Declaration of Independence on August the 2nd, 1776. South Carolina became a state on May the 23rd in 1788, becoming the 8th state to join the Union. Florida, they claimed that they had occupants all the way back 14,000 years with a Paleo Indian, P-A-L-E-O Indians. Spanish came in 1513. Europe didn't settle until September the 8th of 1565, and St. Augustine and the Spanish held on to the territory until they seceded in 1821. So the Spanish held Florida all the way past the time that the colonies were signing the Declaration of Independence, and didn't give up the territory until 1821, quite a few years, 45 years after the Declaration of Independence. Florida statehood came about on March the 3rd, 1845. They were the 27th state to join what we now call the United States of America. And not to leave out you folks from Georgia, King George II on April the 21st allowed the state of Georgia to become a colonized area in 1733. They approved July the 4th and signed it on August the 2nd, the Declaration of Independence. Georgia's statehood was January the 2nd, 1788. They were the fourth to join the Declaration, or excuse me, the United States of America, fourth state to join. So you're probably asking yourself, who was the first that decided that they wanted to have a United States of America? It was Delaware on December the 7th, 1787. They were the first state to say that they wanted to form a United States of America. Now, the actual Declaration of Independence was signed not in the order in which they agreed to the colonies becoming a group to rebel against England, but when they signed in the order of geographics, north to south. So it was Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and on down they went by the region, so that it came down to Georgia was the last one on the Declaration of Independence. You notice I skipped over New York because they didn't sign until August the 2nd. So interesting little quirks about this. So we find then that 85 years after the Declaration of Independence said all men are created equal, our colonies and our states decided that they didn't agree that all men were created equal, and we had what was called the Civil War, which was anything but civil. Only 85 years after we broke away from Britain, there was the big argument about whether or not all men were created equal and whether there should be such a thing as slavery. That battle, the North lost 380,000 men, and the South lost 290,000 men. Nearly 700,000 people died over the issue of whether or not men were created equal, even though in 1776, whether you take the July 4th or the August the 2nd date, they died fighting over whether or not all men are created equal. The Bible said years and years and years before that all men were created equal. Maybe they should have just looked at the Bible. In any case, I thought you might find some of those facts interesting. Let me tell you my Declaration of Independence. My Declaration of Independence is an independence from sin. And in Romans chapter 7, verse 14, it says, "We know that the law is spiritual, but I am of the flesh, sold into bondage to sin." And I declared my Declaration of Independence from sin through Romans chapter 7, verses 24. Verses 24 through 25. "Wretched man that I am, who will set me free from the body of death? Thanks be to God through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then on one hand I myself with my mind am serving the law of God, but on the other hand my flesh the law of sin." And my declaration was found in Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10. If we confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart a person believes, resulting in righteousness, and with the mouth he confesses, resulting in salvation. Now watch verse 13, chapter 10, Romans. Whoever will call upon the name of the Lord will be saved. I was freed from the bondage of sin, and I have been forgiven because I declare that I believe that Jesus Christ died for my sins. And I know that if I called upon his name, I would be saved, and I would never be disappointed. That's my special 4th of July thought for you. I hope you find some of this detail interesting as I did as I looked about the history of the Declaration of Independence. God bless you and have a wonderful holiday weekend. Please be safe. Don't leave church out just because it's a holiday weekend.